Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis. My name's David, my pronouns are he and him.
My name's James, my pronouns are they and them.
I'm Jamie and my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Rob, mine are he and him.
And I'm Alistair and my pronouns are also he and him.
James, what the fuck was that? Cunt.
I don't know, what was it? Cunt. Like... I just matched your energy.
You fucking prick. Oh. Match that.
Just you wait, David's going to drop the mirth force field in a moment.
It's a whimsical podcast tonight, love it.
Fucking hell. Yeah, this is taking too many attempts to get started and we're not going back now. So, yeah, welcome back to Praxis Cast. Rob's back and we have greeted him back in such a correct way as to have to do the notes.
Yeah, indeed. So, sadly, I couldn't find more conversation, more shit about this. That's why this is an intro bit and not a main story. But I have found once again for you a new startup nation to amuse and delight you with, and possibly for us to move to.
Excellent. Is it on the sea?
I don't know where it is yet, but I do know what it revolves around. Do you remember Brian Johnson?
Is it because it's on the sea that you don't know where it is?
No, this one revolves around blood.
Oh.
Huh.
That could be a sea.
Yeah, that's certainly.
Peter Thiel again?
No, it's you remember the incredibly rich guy Brian Johnson who wants to live forever, has a son who he calls his blood boy and tracks his erections for science.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he was recently talking at the incredibly named Live Long Summit in Florida, naturally in Florida.
Live long
where
laugh.
else would...
Who would want to live long in Florida?
Well, it could be
it's
worse.
Academic. It's slipping into the sea, so, it doesn't matter what they want about it, frankly.
So yeah, basically, instead of talking about his, lifelong secrets of the pharaohs, he started talking about his plan to create a new nation. Quote, "It would welcome people from all across the world fighting to live longer," Brian Johnson said, "and pool its citizens' resources to help every citizen secure access to the tests, therapies, and supplements they need to help de-age their bodies." So basically, a colony of immortals somewhere.
This feels like one sentence away from "is not a man entitled to the sweat on his brow." Like, what the fuck? Yeah, we're all going to live underwater in big, orbs.
We started in Florida, so it makes sense.
Is man not entitled to the blood of his son? It's a very reasonable.
You can call me Big Daddy.
Yeah, that's got spooky parallels for little sisters harvesting all the Adam and parasitic relationship on the young. Great.
I can't remember what it's called, but this is just him wanting to start that fucking secret nation that the X-Men have.
Genosha.
What now?
Yeah, Genosha. Move there with all of his mutants and live happily ever after as their king or something like that.
The fundamental difference there is that Magneto was right.
That's true.
No notes.
It sounds less fun than Genosha, though, because, again, quote Brian Johnson, "Anything that I do or other people in this nation of lifelong freaks that increases the risk of death, I am labeling an act of violence. So the act of eating pizza, donuts, Chick-fil-A sandwiches, and drinking
anything other than
acts
potatoes."
Hey, now, hey.
Ireland, they'll all be based in Ireland.
You were looking to emigrate, though, weren't you?
No, just to be crystal clear on this, I am not eating potatoes in order to live forever. I'm eating potatoes just to lose weight.
Sat atop the golden throne forever like Prince Edward.
Nah, I can't use foil when baking them, David. It doesn't. Never mind, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, back to Brian Johnson. I want to build a nation state because if you want to be healthy IRL, he then explains in real life, you need to.
Oh my god!
Thank you, Brian.
Well, as opposed to healthy on the internet.
Yeah, just post more. Just post your way to eternity.
Somebody get a doctor to come around and check my blood pressure.
No
It's
government in the
split
world.
in blood pressure between posts at night and posts during the day. Like,
Is wire motherboard anything?
Yeah. No government in the world is currently helping its citizens not to die. So I want. so I
No
want
one
to
is
build
speaking of the silent pizza genocide.
He's onto something there, isn't he?
So I want to build the IRL infrastructure so that a government can help its
I hate
citizens
this man.
not die.
Does he clarify?
Why does he keep saying IRL?
Yeah, does he
because-
clarify the second time as well, or
No,
He's
you
taking
just
his
have to-
entire style guide from that dick AI website.
He did a trial run in the metaverse.
Well, close enough. Because, like, what would you think is, of course, the first
I
step?
hate when you say close enough to me, Rob.
Because what, of course, is the first step for any of these nations to get going to before they really acquire territory.
To
what
read
was the
the
first step?
fountainhead.
That's the first step. What's the second one?
Elevate Jamie Oliver.
No, it's to build the wiki. Quote, it would begin as an online global network with members helping each other to secure the right supplements and therapies to help them live longer and de-age their bodies. So it'll just be a Reddit forum where you can just like get creatine like via the dark web or some shit.
It's just going to turn into one of those colloidal silver fucking forums.
This is literally like the episode where Jez and Superhands join a cult. Like, what the fuck?
Also, I like that the idea that he has, from first principles, reinvented a nationalized health service. Because, like, what if, and hear me out here, you got, like, a big group of people, say, like, your citizenry together, and then you all collectively, like, bargained with, like, healthcare providers and pharmaceutical companies to, like, get better terms? What if you did that? What would that look like? I'm confused.
The International
like
just starts playing in the background for some reason.
yeah, it would look like a bunch of poors getting together, Rob, which is not what he's interested in. So,
I mean, the alternative that to living forever in the world of the Blood Boy is
to
I can
die
offer
immediately in the realm of the living.
What if Amazon helped you die? The Amazon data center helped you die in a nuclear explosion.
oh, this story, fuck me.
Yeah, so basically what's happened is Amazon has bought a big data center, a big planned data center in the US that's powered directly by the nearby Susquehanna nuclear power plant that's in Pennsylvania. They paid about $650 million from a Texan company that went bankrupt along the way. So the deal is basically they buy the data center now, plan to vastly upgrade it, and then as part of the deal is they get like fixed price cheap energy from the nuclear power plant next door.
Didn't they also get like an ownership stake in the nuclear power plant itself, or am I misremembering?
No, I don't think so. I think they just get like a fixed price on the energy. I mean, you could be right about that, but that's not how I read it. So
Fair enough. It's details.
I think this has no drawbacks because American infrastructure is famously really sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have not looked at the news in the last 2 days. What are you talking about?
It's got a pretty good margin of safety, about 3 miles, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, basically, all of it. If you're curious, like why they're doing this, it's basically because even the IEA suggests that like the energy demand from data centers could more than double over the next 3 years, and that's just down to AI and cryptocurrencies.
Okay, but what do those numbers look like if we kill all the tech bros?
I think it's. Let me do some quick modeling. Better.
That sounded suspiciously like you tapping on your desk, Rob.
Well, otherwise I'd have to like type gibberish into the notes, and obviously not doing that.
You want me to do it?
No
I
one
would
do
prefer
it.
that you not. But yeah, basically since 2010, about 1% of all energy produced on the planet has gone to data centers. But this is probably going to like rise quite quickly if nobody puts a fucking stop to AI bullshit. And, the resurgence of cryptocurrency. So, rather than using, nuclear energy, which is green energy, for anything, useful, Rob, we use it to, burn the fucking planet a bit more and, make cryptocurrencies.
Hold the fuck up. What do you mean the resurgence of cryptocurrency? What the fuck have I missed?
Bitcoin's back. Bitcoin's back at $70,000 a coin or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you know what it is? If you know anyone, anyone in your life is into crypto or fucking AI, push them into the standard usage of fiat currency. It's entirely morally justified for the sake of the planet. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, now in the UK, Jamie, that will become easier than ever, because that's the last bit I wanted to talk about before the main topic. The UK government has released its new plan for drivers, which I read, of course, because I have nothing better to do.
Oh, here we go.
So, people dying in the streets will be made easier than ever just to satisfy the Jeremy Clarksons among us. Because
given that there's a war on drivers, is it a war plan? Are we going to a war plan economy? Is that what the plan is, Rob?
No, they're just, making sure that every cunt, whose sole passion in life is his Audi A4 can drive it at ungodly speeds through any neighborhood of their choosing.
The Prime Minister has moved the country to an alert state of dumb cunt 2.
I mean, I'll read you a bit from the press release. Motorists are set to benefit from smoother journeys and reduced congestion, with local people getting a stronger voice on road schemes that affect them, thanks to a crackdown on anti-driver road schemes, overzealous traffic enforcement, and strengthened guidance for councils on 20-mile-an-hour speed limits.
Do you know the funny thing about all this stuff with, for example, enforcing calm zones and all this kind of stuff? What they've discovered is that the vast majority of the time, the majority of people don't actually give a damn. It doesn't really impact their lives at all. It's only about 20% consistently object to any changes, while the majority,
yes,
the
but
80%
those are the important people that we have to fucking.
Yeah, those are the insane people on Facebook.
It really is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Fucking hell.
It's not even the squeaky wheel so much. It's just the cunt. You know what I mean? The cunty wheel gets the fucking everything.
But it's Jamie, you are completely right. For 80 to 90% of all people, they don't notice them, they don't care, they're just fine. But for the 10% who do, it it becomes their all-consuming passion. Their raison d'etre becomes hating speed cameras or low traffic neighborhoods or bus lanes or anything. They just go completely fucking mad. They are the Audi A4 people who spend their Sundays polishing it. And I don't know, talk about revs or some other bit of car that I don't care or give a shit about. But it's. I mean, you might, I think what we're doing or what I was doing just now is actually what I'm doing is I'm engaging in vilification. This is from the foreword from the Plan for Drivers again. The easy political choice is to vilify the private car when it has been one of the most
good.
Fucking honestly,
when it has been one of the most powerful forces for personal freedom and economic growth in the last century.
Honestly, whenever we talk about the war against cars, I implore the listener and whoever wrote this garbage to play the video game Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. It is a video game that teaches you to hate the personal car. It is unbelievable how awful they are in trying to build anything resembling a city, because they just take up so much fucking space.
They take so much fucking space.
There was a British Rail ad that I saw the other day that was basically the Houses of Parliament just buried under piles and piles of motorways, and it's saying, if British Rail didn't exist, this is what London would be, and they're fucking right, because personal cars are so fucking shit, and versus a train. The only form of transport that gets more efficient the more people use it. I hate these pricks so much.
Yeah. The thing that pisses me off is it's the easy political choice. Is it now? Do you know what I mean? What happens when people fucking protest against cars, for example?
Yeah, they literally get run over, and then the person doing the running over gets a centerfold in the fucking sun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, but again, this is just appeasing like the people who see ghosts on Facebook.
Shout out to the fucking Jeep mom or whatever the fuck she was called from like 3 or 4 years ago,
Land Rover
5 years
mom.
ago.
That's
that one.
Yeah, anyone who like fucking has a Land Rover or a Range Rover should be put
on a bus.
I mean,
do you know what I mean? It's like, what have you got that for? Like,
to murder children, Jamie.
Yeah,
if you have to take like
center, getting on my fucking tits.
Well, Jamie, if you have to bring like Miffy and Biffy to school, like you need to do that in like an armored car. Because what if Miffy and Biffy see a paw outside the window?
Don't you fucking besmirch the name of armoured vehicles. These cunts. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It would be better if they went in tanks, because they're slow.
But yeah, the next slide from like the forward is, of course, the important one. Is it is not right that some drivers feel under attack. So it's not whether you are under attack, it's that you feel under attack.
What happened to facts don't care about your feelings? That's not something that these people love so much.
You know, it's not just facts either. I couldn't give a fuck about these people's feelings. And also, I wouldn't give a fuck if they were being attacked either.
Yeah, and quite frankly, we are right to not give a fuck. You know, like it's cool, it's good. But I have some more details to for everybody to make sure that that the government stays out of your way when you're going 70 miles an hour through a residential area. The first is, of course, the most important, the most critical one, is that the government will, at long last, get powers to, quote, stop councils from using so-called 15-minute cities.
Oh, piss off.
Yeah,
really annoying
imagine
thing?
So mandatory fucking traffic like the Truman Show or some shit if you try and develop a 15-minute city, because by God, everyone should be in a car on the road at all times so that we can make sure that everyone can exercise their God-given right to be stuck in traffic on the motorway or any road for that matter.
Do you know what's really great about this is the actual fucking like serious motoring enthusiasts, the ones who like restore cars, drive them at racetracks, are into rallies and all that kind of shit. They tend to not be cunts about this kind of shit because they actually respect how dangerous cars are.
Nerds.
That too.
Yeah.
And like nerds are the only people who ever understand this kind of fucking shit. Like you put a normal person in front of a train and they'll go, put a nerd in front of a train and fucking love it. I think,
David, they'll go splat at some point, realistically. But
hey.
Fuck you, Rob.
Oh, I'm updating the spreadsheet.
The second thing that, of course, has to be challenged and prevented, apart from 50-minute cities, are low-traffic neighborhoods, or LTNs, which are, the
high-traffic
bane of
neighborhoods
the motorist.
only.
Yeah, exactly. Bumper to bumper. I don't care if it takes you 7 hours to get from the beginning of your street to your house.
It's so fucking insane. Yes, the joy, the privilege, the freedom to be sat in traffic. Who wants this?
Well, it's because right-wing people have, like, cars are incredibly important to, like, their personal notions of who they are. Because, like they said it in the intro, they all think that, like, cars are, like, somehow related to public transport because it's individual, whereas in, like, a train or a bus, you have to be with others, which is gross.
It's because the people on this island have souls as grey as their fucking tap water. No, but cars are always, like, associated with, individuality and individual choice and going wherever and whenever it pleases you, only, of course, on paved surfaces and so on and so forth. But
we don't need that. We don't need that.
That's always
this is
like
an
a different
anti-leaving
episode.
the house podcast.
Like I'd like to find like a long article by or like a book by an insane person who's like in defense of cars, because I do think cars are like interesting objects and sort of like a almost like a Marxist sense, like what they mean to people.
Do you know why? Right, in all seriousness, when they were getting cars going, when they were like getting them off the ground as a thing that consumers could buy in the United States, and Henry Ford was doing his business, they intentionally equated it to essentially the cowboy's horse. So to be a man, you've got to have your horse, aka you've got to have your car. And like, it's not like when they started talking about horsepower, like obviously they developed horsepower as like a comparison, but it got played up in marketing specifically for that purpose because they were leaning hard into this idea of if you're a true American frontiersman, etc., and all that cowboy wank, then you've got to have a car of your own.
Surely
Back then, surely the most powerful car was only about 1 horsepower anyway.
Yeah, it was called a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't matter though, because they also, they combined it with straight up, futurist kind of design principles and ideas based on the same movement of Italian
power.
Kind of. It was based on the same principles as the Italian fascists, because they were all futurists.
1 ton power.
But for real, that's why it's tied psychosexually into, masculinity. It was an exercise in branding that was wildly successful.
This is why Mike Pence loves cars.
Yeah, but he can only ever be one in one with his wife at the same time. Anyway, back to the low traffic neighborhoods. So if you want one, or your council's planning to do one from now on, or at any time from now, basically, you must, quote the government, get buy-in from locals, businesses, and emergency services. If you're wondering how to,
nah. You fucked it. That's the killer right there. Businesses.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what
businesses hate this shit. They fucking hate it. A business will hear about a cycle lane being fucking put in within 5 miles of itself, and it will shut it down immediately by being in the good
screaming.
books, fucking 3 local councillors. Yeah, but no effort at all. If a business doesn't want it, then fuck you. You're not getting it.
It's all about access for deliveries and nothing fucking else. Even when it's been shown that creating pedestrian zones actually boosts the amount of business that businesses take in, they don't care. If fucking Mike has to walk an extra 30 feet to take his, goods he's selling into his shop from his car, then he's just not up for that shit.
No, but you see, the parking spaces will be removed if there's a bike
exactly,
lane,
and then no one will come anymore.
Never mind, more people will fucking cycle past it and be able to stop on a dime to just come into your shop and not need a parking space. No, they don't count, because those are cyclists and they're weird fucking people. You don't want their money. You want the crisp note of the
you only want
Audi
people
driver.
the money of people who lease Audi A4s.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're wondering how do you get that buy-in, quote unquote, well, you simply do it through events in real space, online surveys, as well as leaflet drops. That's a quote from the thing. So
what, like the fucking IDF?
Yeah. Quote, you must involve the whole community. That's, of course, So, of course, that kind of wording means
it's the
if one
thing,
cunt
then.
didn't get a leaflet, they can now say, well, you didn't involve me, so now it can't happen.
It's not enough to have a majority of people. You have to have every fucking person on board. So if,
we have to involve them at least.
Well, if but if you have all the meetings in the consultation process and it comes back as 100% of people consulted said, yes, we want the low traffic neighborhood, but those people were only 49% of the people in the neighborhood, then you just rule it out because you automatically assume the other 51% must hate it.
Yeah, or that they weren't consulted properly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically, and if you don't do this consultation business, the government is now at liberty to withdraw any funding for roadworks or public transport things, and they can even take control of local road funding to stop councils from implementing a low traffic neighborhood, which is. And also, for any low-traffic neighborhood that already exists and can't be removed because most people just kind of like it, basically the government is also considering to remove the access from local authorities to the DVLA database, so they cannot use any traffic camera to enforce a low-traffic neighborhood. Because if it's all the cameras, you can't give them a fine, so it will just in practice cease existing. And also, 20 mile an hour zones, big ones, are bad now. They might be okay, just outside schools, but that's pretty much the only place. Everywhere else, 20 which is fucking weird to me, because, as a disgusting continental European, most, residential areas, they're all 20 mile an hour. They are just blind. They're all like that. They're just standard like that. I don't understand why that's not a normal thing for English people. But I don't understand why lots of things are normal for English people.
I mean, they've been setting up 20 mile an hour zones all over the place for fucking decades.
Yeah.
It's only just because some cunts decided to make a fucking culture war out of it that it actually matters now.
I'll tell you why things are like this, Rob. It's because nothing in this country is allowed to measurably become any better, and any action that may, in some small way, make this place more tolerable to live must be crushed like as so many tons of bricks.
Yes, clearly. I mean, and also, speaking of things that must be crushed, the bus lane as well has for too long been a symbol of tyranny to the good motorist of Britain. Because, you get those, like, Facebook posts, right? Or the Twitter posts of, like, a giant, like, row of stationary cars, like, with people fuming in them, and then, like, an empty bus lane. Well, what if instead of, like, catching the bus, which is clearly the intent, you just stop that lane from being a bus lane? Surely that would make things... yeah. Done and done.
It'd be even better, because then you can have 2 lanes of static traffic. That's good.
Yeah.
Just one more lane, bro. It never works.
Yeah. I mean, every time we've expanded the motorways, it has just created in a better time. Created a better time for everybody.
The only mode of transport that gets more efficient the more people use it, the train.
Yeah.
Everything else gets worse. Everything else.
Have you seen those like 26-lane highways over in China that they've built? And mysteriously, they're all chock-a-block as well. Like, it just doesn't work. So empirically evidenced that it does not work. It doesn't matter how many extra lanes you add.
They did that communistly.
Oh, right, I see, of course. Well, actually, that makes sense, because if you give people like an infinite resource, you create infinite demand, right? Like,
this is what you give people cars, but you don't give them an individualist ideology to live with. Then that's what happens. That's what collectivism with cars looks like, and that's bad.
Of course.
It's
That's why it has to be a
because
culture war issue.
you want to be in the traffic jam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not opposed to like cars for like some like last mile stuff, especially in the countryside and things. Like, I don't mind if there's like a small pool of like, little hire cars that you could just like pick up and use at the end of like a bus stop or at a train station, or a taxi service for that matter. Yeah, sure.
Organized, socialized taxi service, like.
I mean, the main thing is bulk transport of people on essentially rush hour is obviously the big one. Like, every single car that you can replace with a seat on a train is such a fucking massive win. Just for even other road users. It's so
pure
insane.
Space, like literal space.
I'm begging some of these fucking losers to just visit Manchester, use the trams, see what life could be.
The trams are great. I live in a city full of trams. Trams are fucking delightful. Like, they're really cool.
Trams and a good underground.
Rob said trams rights.
This podcast is pro trams rights.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, but what we're doing, of course, now is doing Britain down. Let me tell you the upside of this. Apart from it's satisfying the Raj dad.
Are we not? Are we still allowed to say that's good? Is that law coming yet?
Well,
we're not allowed to talk Britain down.
Apparently, David, if we just allow people to speed at will and basically not care about the dead children or the asthma or whatever, according to this government document, we will generate up to 100 million crisp new pounds, over 10 years. So a whole 10 million extra to the UK economy.
And what, do I get that paid into my bank every month, or is it a weekly thing, or?
It'll just it's a vibe, Jamie. The vibes will just be 100 million richer.
Is that just like from resub fees for all the autobahns?
It's because everybody will be faster to go to work now, because finally you could speed legally across the bus lane and plow through that stupid row of children waiting at a crossing.
That's good. What's the increased cost of road maintenance in that regard? Is that anything?
Or traffic accidents or long-term health costs? Look, I think that there's too much insecurity in that kind of modelling. I think what you can rely on is this 100 million over 10 years.
Well, I'm sold.
That's real math. Anyway, this is the last bit, we'll talk about this, but said Mark Harper, the existing current transport secretary, we are on the side of drivers, and these latest measures show that we are getting all of the we were delivering, blah, 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 making the lives of drivers better, fairer, and cheaper, and helping people travel on the way that works best for them. Apart from if you want to take the bus or, walk or exist in your, maybe play some football on the street or something. But as long as you surround yourself with 2 tons of steel, it's great. The Tory fucking government is here for you.
So long as you're in traffic.
Yes, exactly. But
well, you will be, so.
Sorry. Right, yeah. Sorry, David got held up. No, keep rolling. I've got my notes. One take and we're out. Hi, you're listening to a free episode of Podcasting's Praxis. But did you know that Kurosawa was 51 when Yojimbo was released? Widely hailed... Sorry, unrelated. But did you know that we also do premium episodes? That's right. Each month, the CIA was backing death squads in... No. It's fine, we'll fix it in post. Each month we post exclusive episodes on our Patreon, which you can join at patreon.com/praxiscast. Joining our Patreon also gets you access to our Discord, where you can find bonus clips and unzip the optional physics files into your Skyrim data hang on. Where there are bonus clips, and you can... Wait, David, it's fine, I'm nearly done.
So now, in a delightful segue, what if instead of the car or even the bus or maybe even, God forbid, a train, what if there was this secret third thing that you could be doing in the very near future? Something that's really going to improve the lives of Britain and Britons everywhere all the time. With millions, nay billions in benefits and economics to be had. So I have good news for you. If maybe you were a bit bummed about like traffic and the cancellation of HS2 or the private buses or the gaping potholes everywhere. So there's a whole new way of like getting around, or there soon will be. And I promise, or the government, or the Department of Transport at least promises that it will be in full effect by 2030.
I'm sure it will.
So what I've done for you this week is I have read the Department of Transport's Future of Flight Action Plan. And I'm here to...
Pray, tell us, what is the future of flight?
Well, Jamie, I'm so glad you asked. It's what if we had more aerial taxis? Specifically, all electric
cars.
aerial taxis.
What do you mean if we had more
aerial taxis?
Yeah, any is more than zero, you buffoons.
So technically, aerial taxis includes helicopters for the City of London, so it's actually a thing.
Yeah, but in this case, we are talking...
Well, it's not, I don't recognise the City of London.
No, not I. It's not
a real place.
Yeah, I don't recognise the borders.
Yeah. There's no remembrancer on this fucking podcast to whisper in my ear about it ain't as right, so they can go fuck themselves. Yeah. So yeah, by 2030, flying cars or aerial taxis or electric vertical takeoff and landing craft, technically, will be here to take you smoothly from aerodrome to aerodrome, and also possibly there will be zeppelins.
Where are they? Where are the aerodromes?
Aerodrome to aerodrome sounds like something Mr. Burns would say, for fuck's sake.
Love to hop in the spruce moose.
So this is from the preface of the Future of Flight plan. A third revolution in flight is underway, bringing new ways of flying that are safe, clean, and cost-efficient, offering radically new ways to connect people and transport goods. This is not science fiction. It has already started.
This is the era of the blimp.
James, it will be the era of the blimp again.
Oh, fuck off! Yes! Yes!
It's a rigid airship.
I believe it's called a dirigible.
I could just hear all the Victoriana nerds like wanking their clockwork dicks raw over this one. Fantastic. Awesome.
So again, I'd like to stress this is not science fiction.
Pop right out of the news.
This is not science fiction. But please, everybody, this is not science fiction. This is a very serious, costed plan.
Yes, it's a very distinct branch of fiction called steampunk.
If it was science fiction, it would be cool. So you know what I mean. It's clearly not that.
so just some basics on the report to get us started. So it's not just written by the Department of Transport; it is technically the product of the Future Flight Industry Group as well as the government. It includes like a whole bunch of lobby organizations, like quote the Drone Industry Action Group, which sounds like it like the
and this husky
the Red
fellow
Army.
in a waistcoat and top hat.
It's like the much less cooler cousin of the Rote Armee faction, as well as many others. But whatever, it's all signed off by the Minister for Aviation, which apparently the UK has. So across this document, there's like a lot of like the thing that they keep stressing is like they need to be flying at pace, by which you need to read cut regulation now as fast as you humanly can, because we promise.
I'm not a physicist,
the flying
but
car
I'm
is on
pretty
its
sure
way.
flying at pace is typically one of the things required of flight.
I think they mean no 15-minute cities in the air, like, you know.
Yeah, but if you had a flying car, James, imagine like how much bigger your 15-minute city would be.
Just the first like words in this pamphlet or whatever the fuck this is. Just it's not Hindenburg. Okay, interesting start.
Yeah, the first lines of the documents were, "Oh, the humanity." It's quite strange, really. Anyway,
Actually, in all seriousness, hang on. Like, so the Hindenburg was obviously because it was a hydrogen like fueled blimp, and the alternative to that is to use helium, which is non-explosive. But there's
Hydrogen.
not that much helium, so how?
Oh, you use hydrogen.
They're just going to use.
Yeah, just don't explode it.
Yeah. What if
cool.
you simply didn't explode?
Never thought of that.
That's
so
right.
if
All the pilots vape now rather than smoke, so there won't be any issues.
Jesus Christ.
You know, that episode on Archer where they get into a blimp is like just really speaking to me right now.
Nancy, yeah, absolutely.
The first blimp that is filled with chewing gum flavored hydrogen is going to be incredible.
Oh, one hell of a gender reveal when it blows up. Anyway.
Is it really a gender reveal if it doesn't cause like a massive fire across like the western seaboard of the United States?
So if you're wondering what the end goal of the future of flight plan is, let me tell you. We want to take this opportunity to create economic, environmental and social benefits, revolutionizing the way we travel, deliver goods and provide public services right here in the UK. We want to seize the business opportunities and capitalize on the export
Such as
potential.
top hats, waistcoats, pocket watches.
Corsets, you
Strange
can't forget
ray
them.
guns. So, you know, I hear you. Look, I hear you out there in podcast land, and you know, on this recording, you're crying out right now. What is the future of flight plan? I hear you ask this, so let me tell you all about it. So,
Is it a bunch of chap hop looking pricks crashing through your ceiling every other day?
No, it's very serious British-led engineering, Jamie. I'll have you know. So basically, this document is only concerned with two things: what they call uncrewed aircraft systems, which means drones, which obviously have no people on board, as well as all electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, which do have either people on board or flying them.
Yes.
We love this.
Osprey that shocks you to death.
It's incredible that they looked at the helicopter and thought, "No, this thing doesn't crash enough."
Yeah. Well, Alistair, you are correct, because, you know, if you might be wondering, but let me tell you, eVTOLs have the potential to perform operations currently undertaken by other air and land vehicles and offer opportunities to scale up due to forecast lower levels of noise and emission and a lower price point than helicopters. So they'll just be cheaper and quieter as they, you know, crash down on your head. Like drones.
The British government is proud to sponsor this new way to be an affront to God.
Yeah, when I look at helicopters, the thing that I think is the problem here is that we have essentially a big engine with like a flammable liquid feeding it, right? What if we replaced all that shit with a bunch of energy cells that, when exposed to the atmosphere, just murder everything immediately.
Yeah. What if that? And, I don't like your negative tone.
I'm pretty positive that you would not want to be near that if it crashed.
Like drones, eVTOLs will be equipped with increasing levels of automation. They will be crewed initially and are expected to, over time, be able to fly autonomously without a pilot on board. But yes, there will still be passengers.
Airplane was an instructive movie.
So at this point, you might be wondering, well, why do we really need more drones and, sky taxis? Well, that's because, for one, the UK has already sunk £125 million into the Future Flight Challenge, which is a government program that is really, really weirdly positive about drones and flying cars. And their conclusion is that drones can do deliveries even better than like Amazon Prime, as well as, quote, reduce risk to human life by replacing or improving practices across industry and public services. So,
okay, it'd be nice if they explained how any of that works, rather than we just make it better.
Don't be silly.
It'll be improved. Not in any measurable specific way, but the vibes will be better.
Well, very specific. There is one specific way in which they cite that things will be better. What if we use more drones for NHS transport as well as medical deliveries?
Jesus.
Yeah, why not? Why not just build a giant fucking trebuchet and fire the patients to the nearest hospital that way?
I'll put the repurposed Brexit railgun out of business. I don't think so.
The organ railgun. Flying cars, quote the report, could boost urban and rural connectivity as well as reduce congestion. Yeah, could. Yeah, don't. I said could.
Oh, wow. What if that happened? Crazy stuff.
Yeah, this report also makes the case that drones and flying cars / flying taxis, electric ones to be sure, will be more sustainable. They simply will be, and I refuse to answer any questions.
They're just going to magic the lithium out of the ground.
Yeah. I mean, look, if we have to just kill a bunch more people in Bolivia, do some more coups, that's, though British citizens were harmed, let's, come on.
Listen, we're not funding mental health anymore, so there's plenty of lithium to go around.
They also cite a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers, which I think was commissioned from the other Future of Flight thing. That report, which I also read, makes the case that it could, all this eVTOL and increased drone traffic, add between 1 and 2 billion a year to the UK economy by 2040. It could. There's just an uncertainty of nigh 100%, and it's, more than 15 years away, but it could. That number, or those two numbers, I should... Sorry?
Forgive me for this, but, isn't it a case that when you institute transport improvements in a country, certain transport improvements will just, increase the economy because you're doing things like example, building roads to factories, etc. Yeah. But when you're adding supplementary stuff that isn't necessary for industrial production, that only adds to the economy if you already have a base load of new development that's yearning to take it up. So what are we actually going to be doing, physically building, that will in any way, shape or form capitalize on this potentially?
Aerodromes and skyports.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get back to them.
Blimps with boondoggles, got it.
Yeah, so the 1 to 2 billion a year, which is, tiny in comparison to the UK's overall, GDP, but it's 1 to 2 billion, uncertainty factor of nigh 100%, but who cares? But those numbers only work if we include hypothetical reduced costs, as well as lower passenger times and carbon savings. The number could be much lower, therefore.
It could be even higher, but they've not thought of a bigger number yet.
Yeah. According to that same report, by the way, the estimated value of all sky taxis, the value of all the fares together could be as high by 20 2030, I think, or by 2040, as 300 million a year, which, that could be. That's not a lot of money. Yeah.
Pricewater could need to be banned from using the word could or words like might. Weren't they involved in the fucking housing crash of 2008 as well?
They're all involved in every crisis. There's a whole episode I've been wanting to do for a while about scams and things going on in the Big Four accountancy world, but that's a whole separate podcast at this point. But yeah, it could be worth up to £300 million, and if we add that in with the 100 million we've saved by letting Carmageddon happen again on British streets, I think you'll agree we'll finally be on the way to, sustainable public finances. Rachel Reeves, get in here. By way of comparison, I just had because I didn't know. I just checked. The today's national revenue from normal train ticket sales is 7.7 billion British pounds. So several orders of magnitude bigger than the potential revenue for sky taxis. But that is not gonna stop us.
I have also just seen though that is excluding season tickets.
Yeah, but that's apparently not that much. That's only a couple £100 million. Not a lot of people buy season tickets.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's this is data from the Department of Transport, I think. Yeah.
There was to understand. Actually, just as a complete aside, but this is worth doing. To be able to buy a season ticket, you need to be able to have enough assets fluid to slam down in one go. And if you don't have that, then you're stuck buying the daily tickets, which is actually true for the majority of the population. So it's a depressing fact of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vimes train theory.
Literally, yeah. Entirely correct.
However, that Pricewaterhouse report did include the delightful line, potential impacts and societal concerns around future of flight solutions, the drones and the sky taxis, including safety, noise and privacy, will also need to be understood and addressed. But
they're not... Okay, great. So...
not addressed in this report, though.
Someone else can do the work on this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, what are we, a bunch of nerds?
It's not like they're trying to get this thing off the ground. Someone else can do the heavy lifting.
They're not going to let you have a low aircraft neighbourhood, so fuck you.
But like I said, I think maybe at this point, I think you all sound a little bit unconvinced about the greatness of future flight and electric sky taxis. So let me tell you about some examples from the report that I've had a look at of currently existing future flight technologies in action.
Here's some we made earlier, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah. This is something I think I read about it last year or something, but apparently the Royal Mail is using drones to get personal mail to the Orkneys instead of the ferry, which is normally goes. But they were doing a pilot with drones basically, and I normally wouldn't really mention that because it's just kind of plain. But apart from, and this from the report, that the organizing body of these drones is called the Connected Places Catapult.
Oh, incredible.
Fucking Stout Lads Incorporated.
Yeet Inc.
Yeah, we have surrounded Kirkwall with trebuchets, but it's only so you can have your Amazon Prime delivery just those 20 minutes quicker than before.
Get down, someone's ordered a washing machine. Excellent.
Yeah. Also, like I said, I think this is or was a pilot, but there's also a line in the report that says that the Connected Places Catapult is currently working on drones with, quote, higher wind tolerances, which means I have some questions.
Tell me it's a service for the Orkneys without telling me it's a service for the Orkneys. Jesus Christ.
So the next example isn't real yet, but by 2030, I promise it will be. Is the Urban Air Taxi, a 5-seater piloted eVTOL with only a simple landing pad required?
Oh, fuck off! Mm-hmm. Yeah, brilliant. What I really want is for my last moments to be in the midst of a really racist anecdote.
This is from. This is clearly like an ad job for like a company that makes these things called Joby. Joby's technology.
Spell that, Rob.
Joby.
I'm going to be late to work. I better take a job.
Is this where the Department for Work and Pensions are sending all the joblets? Fucking hell.
But this sentence is fucking incredible. Joby's technology will allow travelers.
We are like 4 years old, but God damn.
Well, it's like that fucking tech company that called themselves Nonce Inc. and was like, why is everyone laughing?
My favourite was Jobby Peanut Butter. That was actually a thing.
Oh, that was good.
Anyway, Joby's technology will allow travelers to move rapidly.
I swear to God, I'm not trying.
I'm going to move past this bit, but like it's really to move rapidly.
No, read it. Come on, we'll all be good. We'll all be good. Read the sentence.
To move rapidly around large metropolitan regions without creating negative environmental impacts. With Joby's evidence finding that a Joby takeoff generates nearly a third less noise than a helicopter.
The environmental impact of Jobies. Leaving evidence.
Oh, this cannot be fucking real.
I mean, my favorite, apart from just like the sheer joy of the name, my favorite thing about all this is like the evidence produced by our company shows that the helicopter produced by our company is great. Actually, it's fantastic. It's just
Well, you got no reason to doubt them.
Yeah, everyone named me agrees that I'm great. Like, yeah, awesome, love it, fantastic, Jobby, well done.
There's also like some pretty sort of, standard stuff which undoubtedly will happen, which is like more drones with more cops to like find people for them and take pictures, etc., etc. They also cited the example of like 2 NHS sites that were like using a drone to send stuff to each other. It was basically between
what? Like what?
Smash drones,
bits, doodads, things of this nature,
bits and pieces, doodads, gigaws. Widgets and so forth.
The doctor holds his hand out and says scalpel as a whine slowly gets louder and louder.
If you live on the Orkney, that just means like 50 people got impaled in the street, but it's fine.
The Orkney, love it.
But yeah, like basically they did a test, but it was between 2 sites that were like 16 kilometers apart. I think Coventry and Rugby. But again, quote unquote, it's weather dependent, which is what you really want when it's about medical emergencies and things of this nature.
So impressive that you have managed to invent a technology that is somehow worse and like less safe, it would seem, than a fucking moped.
I'm sorry, madam, your medical results blew off course and are now stuck in a farm field somewhere. We're not quite sure.
Like, I mean, I don't, roads should not be used as much as possible, but like, one of the cases that's probably a good idea to use a road is with some kind of vehicle transporting something related to medical emergencies or people trying to deal with that kind of thing. But no, what we have is a fucking electronic drone that could be blown off course when it's carrying your internal organs or whatever.
About your results, I'm sorry, they're at the terminal.
There are more solutions, though. Quote, regional air mobility. Many places across the UK find themselves disconnected due to aging infrastructure and a lack of sustainable, affordable transport solutions. So what if instead of, reintroducing
instead of doing all of that,
owned...
what if we just had expensive fucking whiz-bangs? Great.
Yeah, exactly. The answer, Alistair, indeed, is a 4-passenger eVTOL with a 100-mile range. Quote, this will deliver desperately needed transport improvement to regions and locations suffering from a lack of connectivity.
Wow, it's the Hyperloop for the air. Incredible. Now, just to see how the Hyperloop's doing right now.
Very well, I should imagine.
Yeah, probably.
It's oozing. The walls of the Hyperloop are oozing an unknown
fluid.
They're
oozing success. They're oozing the jealousy of the public transport sector.
It's just a promotional tie-in with the new Ghostbusters film.
But for the last one, we get to my absolute favorite. The last future flight in action thing is, quote, connecting Scotland's Highlands and Islands. So they got a company.
Has anyone asked them if they want to be connected?
Yeah, has anyone asked them if they want to be connected by a jobby?
So one of the companies involved in this basically did like a feasibility study, and even that said, quote, it could complement the existing ferry and small aircraft network. So not replace, but, just some extra bits. So at this point, you may be wondering, what company, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. It's called Hybrid Air Vehicles, and what they are pitching as part of this plan...
Hyperpiss.
And it's called Hyperpiss. Your children may be playing with Hyperpiss right now.
I miss Brass Eye.
Yeah. It's called Hybrid Air Vehicles, and what they are pitching is the Airlander 10. Which, if you're wondering what that is, it's a Zeppelin with an electric motor.
I just got Flight of a Bumblebee stuck in my head. I'm sorry, I can't get it out. I'm just picturing these guys trying to fucking fly like, a Heart or some insulin or something like that over to Orkney as this fucking Zeppelin is tottering about to buffeted by a storm until it crashes into a field. Yep. Very on brand. Loving this shit.
It's going to the islands. Sure. It's going straight into the fucking sea.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, by the way, I'm going to drop a picture in the chat of the Airlander 10 because it looks fucking incredible.
Oh, damn, she's thick.
Yeah.
Hot dog looking
basically,
motherfucker.
because like images on podcasts are great. It's like, what if you took like two rigid airships, not Zeppelins, and like you sort of fused them together halfway through? And then it had like two tiny butts on the end.
I can see why they called it Jobby. Let me put it that way.
If you want a better description of that, it looks like Thunderbird 2 fucked a hot dog.
Yeah. Bright white too, which is an interesting choice.
This is from their website on Meet Airlander. Airlander also uses current technology from aeroplanes, helicopters, or novel VTOL aircraft such as the V-22 Osprey.
Yes.
It's fine, it falls so much slower though.
We use technology from planes, Death Machine number 1, and more exciting experimental Death Machine number 2. Yes, love it. Excellent.
Every single crash is like the Austin Powers steamroller scene.
Is this going to be the first time where they have to build the entire thing out of the black box material?
But just the good news is about because I got slightly obsessed with the Airlander. So I'm telling you a little bit more than just what's in the paper. So
how many of those are they allowed to build?
Well, so far they have one demonstration model that's done 7 test flights. But it'll be ready by 2028. Don't you worry about it.
The test pilot was quoted as saying, Kirov reporting, curiously enough.
But like, because it's basically like a big balloon that like you could stick different things underneath. The good news is it's also got military applications, according to the website.
See?
Such, yeah, but not as cool as a Kirov, I'm afraid.
Get that motherfucker up to 3 chevrons, and he's dropping like small thermonuclear bombs underneath him.
Oh, so you build up the kill streak from like crashing all of your passengers, and eventually, I like it. Yeah.
No, instead, they think that the Airlander 10 can be, quote, a pseudo-satellite that can create resiliency and build adaptable mobile services. I haven't
Are they going to put
lately.
a fucking Starlink on this or whatever?
Yes,
is that what this is? Oh, fuck!
Yeah.
Fuck's sake!
Jesus.
And if you're curious if this is going to, like, you know, revolutionize travel to, you know, the Outer Hebrides or something, the projected max speed, according to their own, you know, website, so that's probably the optimistic one, is about 60 kilometers an hour, you know, in a straight line.
so like 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, something 50 knots, but yeah, like so about 60 kilometers an hour. So yeah, 40 miles an hour. Yeah,
that is. Talk about a low traffic neighborhood.
Yeah. So, you know, with all of this in mind, by 2030, I think you will agree, the UK will be a leader in emerging aviation technologies with a sustainable industry and a thriving ecosystem at home, and UK companies providing a range of services around the world, you know, export nation.
Oh, I'm
Brexit,
so
Britain.
tired of hearing this fucking bullshit about every field that they like suddenly get. Like, someone at the fucking government is just staying up all night looking on Wikipedia and getting a hard on for like the stupidest fucking shit. Oh, we're going to be the world leader in AI. We're going to be the world leader in fucking blimps. We're going to be the world leader in like robot assisted microsurgeries. It's like, fuck off. We're not the world leader in anything, and we haven't been for fucking forever. And good, quite frankly.
Yeah, when you were the world leader, it just resulted in endless misery for most humans. So yeah. UK industries and the public will enjoy economic, social, and environmental benefits thanks to the widespread availability of these technologies. So drones and eVTOLs, you know, remember, they will only bring in a fractional percentage of the money that British Rail does, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, fractional percentage of the income for a fraction of a percentage of the throughput.
Yeah, but, you know, if you're from, and of course, the main job of the government, you know, is to get out of the way of the brave innovators making these things, and basically is to make nice policy. But apart from that, the role of the government is also to be the customer and investor, because, you know, while these are great private companies, they
is that
do
a good
need
setup of a relationship?
Oh, it's a great one, Alistair. It's admirable, actually.
I for some reason the phrase conflict of interest keeps coming into my brain. I don't know if that's relevant right now, but here we are.
Well, the paper also defines the role of business, which is to be the innovator and constructor, and also the taker money out of fuck you. I think, but
I'm so sick of this shit, right? Because like, the Tories were originally named the Tories because it's a fucking Irish word for thief, right? And that's what they did, is they got into government and then they basically like gave the public purse to their mates. And that's exactly what this shit is. It's like, hey, listen, we've come up with a brilliant idea for you to give us money. Will you actually provide anything from it? Nah, not really. Okay, sounds great. And it doesn't matter whether it's blue Tories or red Tories or yellow Tories. That's just all government is doing these days, is finding ways to siphon the public purse for the sake of putting fucking exploding blimps in the sky or whatever. God damn it.
Yeah, but
I
the government could
was
also...
for them to be in the ground.
This paper, again, written by the Department of Transport and Essential Way Industry, also has what I think can politely be called a list of demands for government. So there's sort of, I'll separate them out into two bits: the bits for drones and the bits to make the eVTOLs, the sky taxis, take off. So. For drones, the big thing at the moment, which is not allowed for reasons that will become abundantly obvious in a second, is for drones to go, quote unquote, beyond the pilot's visual line of sight. I.e., if you can't see your drone anymore, you're not allowed to fly it there. That should need very little explaining.
You have to release it to the wild. It's a great line of sight. It's legally free.
Slap in the back of this eVTOL, I'd just be like, go on, get out of here.
rocking up to the site of a crashed VTOL with like a single bullet in the chamber and crying as you sadly put it down. Yeah, love
Hold the Yeller.
It's like falconry. Sometimes if if the drone doesn't come back to your hand, you have to just let it go.
Turning in a widening Gaia, the blimp cannot hear the blimp driver. Yeah, okay.
Kiss the Snyder Cut.
But so, of course, now when you're operating a drone or where they're testing drones, interoperability with like helicopters and planes and other like normal things in the sky, quote the report, such operations are currently only carried out in segregated airspace due to the unmitigated risk of mid-air collision resulting from the lack of approved solutions for drones to be seen and avoid other aircraft in the absence of an onboard pilot.
I do love this. We've invented this incredible new technology that is going to revolutionise this entire industry or sector, whatever. Few speed bumps. We can't fly these fucking things any more than a couple of miles away. Just a small problem with like things like the curvature of the Earth and so on. I'm sure we're going to get this all ironed out though. Yeah. Too big of a tree means that it crashes into the ground immediately. However, we soon plan to have this all ironed out. Where are our billions of pounds, please?
So apparently, like what is being done is to like sort of, again, like I said, to do more of this testing to see if you can get like drones and helicopters and stuff in the same airspace at the same time. Basically, it's being done in a controlled environment, basically to stop the mass killings or that amusing stuff that happened with Heathrow.
We need to bring Kessler syndrome within the atmosphere.
Yes. But quote the report, this is incredible. Emerging aviation technologies, so
Zack Snyder's Kes-Lessist syndrome.
Emerging aviation technologies currently operate in controlled environments to ensure the safety of people on the ground and aircraft in the air. So far, so noble. These controlled environments are currently known as temporary danger areas.
Fly into the danger zone. It's just a blimp slowly sliding forward.
Kenny Loggins has fallen off, really, hasn't he?
So the temporary danger areas are currently only valid for like...
How do you get there? Is it some kind of fast road?
I swear, the people that have naming these things, this and Jobby Incorporated or whatever the fuck, I've just never been outside.
Well, I mean, if you don't use
Jobby
that scanner...
to the temporary danger zone.
Oh, fuck that, yeah.
I'm just picturing the people in Orkney just like cowering in their houses until the temporary danger zone passes by. Just, yes, love it.
Like fucking anomalies in Stalker.
Yeah, exactly. The winds are picking up. It's an anomaly moving in. It's a temporary danger zone. Watch out for crashing, I don't know, washing machines or whatever they're transporting.
Jobbies, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
Third side picnic.
The way you prevent temporary danger areas is to scan your Jobby with that AI you guys talked about last week.
Eat more fiber.
Well, that's why we've got the Starlink. It's for the high fiber connection, right?
So yeah. Anyway, so the all of this, like the drones crashing into other things, will be solved by 2030. And actually, this year, there's a whole timeline in the report. It's laid out like a PowerPoint slide. If there's a timeline, they can't not be solved.
It is the year 2030. The British government has solved the problem of velocity.
Sold for zero.
But actually, I have good news because this year, 2024, we are supposed to have in the UK the first demonstration of a drone sight beyond line of sight of the pilot in a, quote, non-segregated space. So, falling debris coming to a site near you soon.
Just gonna accidentally like fly it into a fucking airliner and do reverse 9/11.
It will be nice for porch pirates to be able to work from home, though.
Just gluing like a tiny memorial twin towers to the top of my drone as I crash it into an airline.
Yeah.
With the words, "That'll teach you."
The difficult second album.
But yeah, anyway, so these beyond line of sight drone flights will be routine and normal by 2027, and that is because by that date, industry promises to have cracked, quote, development of traffic management, detect and avoid, and electronic conspicuity solutions.
Sorry, electronic what?
Basically, if there's, you know how planes have like a big blinking light on them, as do helicopters? What if we put a light on the drone?
Conspicuity?
Electronic conspicuity solutions.
It's a perfectly cromulent word.
So making it more conspicuous by sticking a big blinking light on it. That's basically what they're saying. The electronic version of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't the regular
Zeppelin
version of that an electronic version of that?
LED Zeppelin is fucking inspired.
It'll have more lights and it'll tell you that a better life awaits you in the outer colonies.
I would like to know more.
Have they considered fixing the line of sight problem by just replacing the sun with a giant mirror?
LED Speedwagon. Yeah.
Back to the spruce moose.
Getting the guy to stand on top of one of those fucking radio broadcast towers so he's got a longer line of sight. There you go,
Yeah.
problem solved. I'll have my check, please, government.
But yeah, just to head all this off at the pass, because clearly by
Building the
2027...
Tower of Babel, but just so one guy can stand on the top with a remote control.
And God was right to strike us down.
A father drone telling his son drone, no, you can't fly that close to the airplane. But yeah, just to already get their like greasy paws in government procurement contracts, because that's of course what this is all about. The future of Sky Plan delivery group is already urging the NHS to start drone procurement this year, because like I said, by 2027 all the solutions will be cracked. So it's time for the NHS to buy some fucking drones.
This is your chance to get in on the top floor. Love it. Yeah, okay.
This is your chance to get in on the 32nd floor. I think it's probably more likely.
Portion of Icarian terrorism.
So that's the drone regulatory side. For eVTOLs or flying taxis, it'll become much more exciting. So by 2028,
is exciting what you want in the aerospace industry? I'm pretty sure it is.
So the main focus of that is to make routine flights of passenger and light cargo like normal before 2030. So by 2028, electric taxis or VTOL taxis should be routine in the sky in Britain and at scale from, quote, existing aerodromes and new vertiports.
Vertiports?
Mm-hmm. Vertiports.
Okay. That thing that we're also intimately familiar with, vertiports.
I love that you pronounced that in a German way there, Rob. That's exactly what that word needed.
But yeah, vertiports, if you're curious, are like they're little landing sites. They're like helicopter pads, but slightly bigger to accommodate all the new sky taxis, the electronic sky taxis that we'll have everywhere. Because like the problem is, and the PwC report says the same. You can't really use like existing airfields or like aerodromes for this stuff.
Yeah, they actually do something.
Well, apart from that, they tend to be in fields in the middle of nowhere. And like the whole point of a sky taxi is that you would get out near your destination. Because like if you get out in a farm field in the middle of nowhere, then you're still waiting for like, your bus service, which won't arrive for the next 2 hours. So you might as well not have taken the thing.
I'm still not seeing any reason why some fucking rich prick who needs to go to the City of London is ever going to get one of these flying death traps when they've already got their own flying death traps that probably won't kill them quite as quickly.
Well, I mean, it'll just be a new Geegor. Like, that's the only reason this will get adapted by very rich people, is because it's just a new Geegor.
Is the intent to get people trained in using the Just Cause grappling hook in order to move around on these fucking things? Is like that where we're going with this?
What is a Geegor? You keep saying that, and it sounds like something from Ghostbusters.
A Geegor is a thingamajig.
It's like a doodah or a...
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So it's just a Hujama Pivliak, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Or whatchamacallit. A Deedee What's It.
Technically, it's smaller than a gadget, but...
Anyway, so like the first vertiport should already be in place this year.
Let's not do this again.
But I have good news. By 2030, we will have the first demonstration flights of autonomous eVTOLs, which means sky taxis, but without the pilot, because you don't need one, because AI and, autopilot. You know, that thing that works on roads already? What if we just added like an extra dimension to it? What if your Tesla could fly?
It would probably hit less children, statistically.
Technically, sinking into the sea off the coast of Orkney is kind of like reversing into a pond, so...
Anyway, yeah, so like by 2040, which, it's just around the corner, I think, for all of us, according to that PricewaterhouseCoopers report I was reading earlier, eVTOLs will take off the road the carbon equivalent of 120,000 diesel cars. Which is interesting because by the government's own, planning, there are no more diesel cars by 2040.
And also, you're not allowed to do anything that reduces the number of cars on the road.
No, but it will happen, and it will happen by 2040. I have a report. Don't worry about it. So, like I said, like the only thing the government does need to do, councils in particular, is they do need to build all these vertiports and infrastructure so the sky taxis can land somewhere. Because that, otherwise, why would you take one?
This is going to turn into the weirdest performance art of a cargo cult ever imagined. Like, at least with cargo cults, they're building these, like, fake runways and shit for things that have actually flown, that they have actually seen with their eyes. In our case, we were building all these vertiports in the hope of conjuring a thing which doesn't actually and has never existed. Love it. Excellent. Great allocation of resources.
It's just a car park.
Yeah, but what if we had more car park, David? Quote the PwC report.
What if we had a car park with cool symbols painted on it?
Basically, in order to make this work, like practically for anybody who wants to take a sky taxi from place A to place B, you'd need like at minimum like hundreds of them in every major urban and village. Because otherwise, why would you ever take one, right? It makes no fucking sense. So you need hundreds of them everywhere across the country to make it work. Quote the PwC report. This means finding vast areas of real estate, often in built-up areas, and obtaining planning permission from local councils. This process will likely be difficult, long, and not guaranteed to have a positive outcome. However...
Most honest part of your report so far, God.
However, also said the same report in the next line, this could be a different story in a new development, such as NEOM in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, I love to look to places that are like a Halo cutscene for
do you reckon
realism and planning.
Do you reckon they're going to build NEOM on like a completely flat plane, like ignoring the curvature of the Earth? That would be fucking awesome.
Right, Rob, you haven't mentioned this fucking once. And I'm presuming it's because they haven't mentioned it once, because why would you need to think about this? Who the fuck is going to fly these things?
Don't worry your pretty little head about it. People. Actually, people for the first 5 years, and then the AI will take over, so you don't actually need the pilots for that long. Like, we could probably sort some.
Is the plan like Uber jobby? Is that what it's ultimately moving towards?
Well, no, not Uber jobby. It's like, you remember...
Don't say it.
James, like, you remember years ago when Uber first got started, their whole pitch was like, yeah, we have drivers and, people who do it as a side hustle, quote unquote, for now, but this will all be replaced once we've cracked autonomous driving. Mm-hmm. That was the whole pitch of Uber for years, right?
That's where my brain was at when I suggested it. And also I just wanted to say Uber Jobby because, who doesn't love a big bit?
And also, incredibly, because they last year, I think we briefly talked about it on a previous podcast, but I can't remember where. I think it was Manchester or Birmingham or somewhere. They built a sort of example site of what a vertiport will look like when it's done. There was a couple of companies that are also involved in this. They built one. You couldn't take any flights, but like you could have a look around the waiting area. Basically, it was very exciting. But the incredible thing is, because of course these sky taxis, they are flights. So what, among other things, you need is a baggage scanning space. You need passenger security area. You need a pre and post security waiting area. So imagine the size of these things. So there's one being tested at the moment I think in Oxfordshire, or they're planning to build one somewhere in Oxfordshire, which the company itself calls with a surface area of a compact 160 square meters. So just hundreds of those in every city centre, everywhere, all the time, for marginal ass benefits to everybody.
What is their policy on little jars of honey?
But the same report, the PwC report, also reckons that by this time, there will also be, on any given day in the UK, approximately 900,000 commercial drones flying beyond pilot line of sight. So, I really hope we have cracked how to do, spatial navigation for so many objects at the same time, because otherwise we really will have a Kessler syndrome.
Right, sorry. I know you don't have the answer to this, Rob, but where the fuck does that figure come from?
PricewaterhouseCoopers did modeling. Seriousness.
Yeah.
Business.
Modeling, as in with clay. Yeah, okay. Love it.
Spreadsheet. Think. Consultant.
This is what the spreadsheet says, yes.
Yes. So obviously, in conclusion, none of this is serious. It will simply not be done, and it will especially not be done with the horizon of the next 6 years. It's fucking horseshit. But what I think, apart from just being very funny, is the most important thing that this whole thing shows is how much this industry, a cool hip startup industry of flying taxis and eVTOLs and all that, and drones and all that bullshit, they're just all coming out right out and saying now, actually, we are totally dependent on state funding, on the NHS already buying drones now, on state incentives, the City of London and whatever. Everybody from fucking Norwich to Nottingham, every council building compact little fucking vertidromes in their city centre, so some prick can take a ride. This only works floating on a fucking massive sea of public subsidy, and only then will it benefit 5 people if you compare it to rail. But if you compare it with the investment, it would need to be enormous. It won't be dumb, but it would need to be gigantic. And as usual, we do these things. Britain doesn't want to do serious things. We've just seen it. The cancellation of HS2, the plan for drivers is to just, release Carmageddon 5. It's just, they don't want to do anything serious or real. Instead, they just want to do, PowerPoint slides of insane shit to just make themselves happy. I think the only end result of all this might be, that when the temporary danger zone becomes to rest on your house, you might get killed. I think that might be literally the only positive outcome of all of this. But yeah, anyway, that is the future of Sky plan, future of flight plan. I do so apologize.
It's great that they've watched Back to the Future and they've taken the single lamest part of it, which is Sky traffic jams, and said, yeah, let's deliver that. Where's my fucking floating hoverboard, motherfucker? I'll take the 3D shark over this shit.
Yeah, what this world really needs to improve is another Jaws film.
All right, well, I think that's it for the main topic, so I think we'll do some commentariat and then say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah. Okay. There are only 2 things that stop people achieving their true potential.
Uh-oh.
The first is that they unconsciously self-sabotage or hold themselves back. A part of them somehow doesn't believe they deserve success or are frightened of what it would be like. The second is that they don't think big enough. They can't imagine just how amazing life can really be. Is that comment or commentariat?
Commentariat, hands down.
like, the first part of that isn't wrong. Like, there's lots of psychological evidence and research to suggest that, yeah, that does actually fuck people up. But the second part, like, what about money, motherfucker? What about, like, you know, being born with money and privilege and the ability to actually try for your dreams and have a, like, running start at it? It's got to be Commentariat, surely.
Or to have the confidence of literally any dickhead within the inner circle of British society.
And also, like, we had not even big dreams, but, like, some, you know, medium-sized dreams for moderate reform in Britain. And we were all told that we were, you know, disgusting traitors from a different dimension. So, you know, we all fucking know what happened there. Yeah, this is Commentariat.
Some of us are.
Yeah, that was noted journalist superstar Paul McKenna.
Oh yeah,
fuck me.
In the Express. The title of the column was "Banish the energy vampires and enjoy the benefits." So I'm halfway there.
Rub garlic on your modem now.
Right. Are we ready to kick it old school?
Yeah. Brendan. It's Brendan.
Those four all hold the strict religious belief that if they depart this earth at the hands of a woman, it's a one-way ticket to hell, brackets, the same one everybody believed in the 7th century. So why not have the death penalty as the punishment for Islamic terrorism and employ female executioners? Is that comment or Commentariat?
What the fuck?
Ahistorical, racist, Islamophobic, Richard Littlejohn?
Dawkins.
Yeah. Hey,
that's not a bad shout, actually.
What if he hung them, but like the rope was made of bacon? Wouldn't that be epic? Yeah.
What if we used pork bullets? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck me. This sounds a lot like Richard Littlejohn, but I think it's a comment.
I'm gonna sort of guess comment for my own sanity's sake.
It was a comment on GB News.
Thankfully, it's just a member of the British public who is normal and walks among you.
Yeah, that was about the attack in Moscow, I think.
Yeah,
if I remember rightly. Performative political protests are football hooliganism for Trustafarians and the Guardian reading classes. Any excuse for a punch-up in the name of social justice. Is that comment or Commentariat?
Commentariat.
Someone is extremely mad about our podcast.
That was that was about the like fucking picket at the British Museum at the weekend or something.
Ah, right, okay.
Which, as you will famously recall, was a punch-up.
Yeah.
Even the fucking Met described it as a peaceful protest. But and I quote from this person, "That's a matter of opinion." I don't think it is, actually. But that was noted favourite Richard Littlejohn in the Daily Mail, and the headline: "As mob rule shuts British Museum, how much more of this anarchic lunacy before police reclaim the streets?"
The best to ever do it.
Yeah. The men that have bravely fought and served our country should be recruited into the police service and replace the illiberal, liberal, namby-pamby social service policing and PC tick box recruiting with a strong, impartial, non-political police force to enforce the law and tackle the high crime levels and illegal protests in certain areas of our country. Is that comment or Commentariat?
Keep going, I'm almost done. God damn.
Name them. Name the areas. Name which ones. Go on.
Which areas in particular?
I'm praying that's a comment.
I feel like...
I hope that's a comment, yeah.
I feel like that's comment. I think that's too overt.
That was a comment in the Express.
Like, that's an article from 2 years from now, sort of thing.
How about we extend retired Gurkhas an opportunity to make a meaningful contribution to their adopted new home? How about giving these splendid retired soldiers special constable responsibility as a means of directly confronting knife crime on our streets, for example? Money well spent, and we'd have something to show for it for a change. If you were armed with a machete or similarly ghastly weapon, would you be willing to take on a trained, tried and tested former member of the Gurkha regiment? Is that comment or commentary?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Shut the fuck
What we
up.
need are sensible, practical policies like having every single copper replaced by with a tier 1 special operator who has PTSD and an itchy trigger finger.
Yeah, and is also the old man from The Simpsons from the you call that a knife, this is a knife scene.
I don't know. I think this comment is onto something. Let them cookery.
Hey.
I sincerely hope that's a comment,
I
but
hope that's
I'm
another
not
one that I've
entirely
got.
sure.
Yeah, comment.
I've got to say,
I'm going to say Commentariat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
David spotted the game here. This is Christopher Smithers in the Express. My ingenious plan can tackle knife crime and help the Gurkhas at once. And that was the previous one was a comment under this article.
We've been bamboozled.
It's always Commentariat. If it's anything about the Gurkhas, it's Commentariat. They fucking love to talk about the Gurkhas.
Okay.
I'm sick of this fucking island.
While we all have to work, you can consciously immerse yourself in your happy places when you have free time. Is that comment or commentariat?
What?
What? Has Malcolm Gladwell had like even more seizures?
That's commentariat lifestyle column thing, maybe.
Yeah, Commentariat.
This is Commentariat. I don't. This is
yeah, I think Commentariat as well.
Yeah, that was Paul McKenna again. A different column though.
Mm-hmm.
That one was titled "Embrace Your Natural State of Happiness." Another because since you meant when I read out the first Paul McKenna quote and you mentioned like what about money? Well, there was actually an extra quote from that, which was, "Happiness is when we live by our values. They are the things that are most important to us. If happiness was determined by pleasure, then people with the most money would be the happiest, and that's not clearly the case." Well, so there you go.
I mean,
Paul McKenna saw you coming.
Yeah, I mean, there were some other Brits a long time ago that said happiness is a warm gun, and you know,
Right? Do we? I've saved the absolute screaming worst for last. If
All
you
right,
really want to hear
there's
that,
another one.
Go on.
God.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, all
Boy,
right.
is there ever. Using the fact that she was 15 when she and two of her friends intentionally went to Syria to join ISIS is a bogus excuse. We allow kids much younger than that to change their gender, take puberty blockers, and countless other things. Is that comment or commentariat?
what the?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Changing gender, much like being groomed and joining ISIS.
You know, Alistair, you joke, but that's the fucking turf say that
Fuck
shit. That it's all grinning. So, because it sounds like a turf talking point, commentariat.
Yeah, 90% of all turfs have columns, so yeah.
Yeah, whichever way this plays out, whether it's commentariat or whether it's a comment, it is the commentariat that have enabled this to be a thing that has now been said. So I'm going to say commentariat, damn the consequences.
Yeah.
That was a comment on GB News.
Fucking
All right.
hell.
Well, on that fucking note, thank you for listening to yet another episode.
You asked me for the worst shit I could find.
Yeah, no, you know,
Yeah, it's pretty-
No, that's to the worst shit.
Yeah, it is a bit like. Apologies, everyone. I hate this fucking country so much.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, this country would be fucking great if it wasn't for all the people.
Give it back
Anyway,
to the
I think
Swans.
that'll do us for an episode, won't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it very much will. So thank you for listening. Bonus episodes are available patreon.com/praxiscast. You've heard it in the ad. Now hear it again, fucker. And yeah.
Unless you're a delicious patron, in which
Praxiscast.
case, well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can lick the sweat off your own brow. Where, you know, tears don't go that high.
Twitch.tv/praxiscast. That's every couple of weeks on Thursdays usually that we will do some kind of stream. Keep an eye out on Blue Sky, etc. I'm not going to bother reading it where that is. You'll find it. And also merch available, praxiscast.tmail.com.
Yeah, apparently we do Normal Island shirts.
We do.
Yeah, I've recently been told.
And mugs.
So I apologize to the person because I think like that was a genuine mistake, and I read it as like fucking me off, and like you know what I mean. So I apologize for being a fucking dick about that.
Yeah, you could complain to the manager about your poor customer service, but guess what, motherfucker?
Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Bye.